So let's bring in Jeff Stacey to look at this issue even more. He's a former U.S. State Department official in the Obama administration. So as we heard, there seems to be some initial consensus about a digital tax plan. We also have France, who is planning its own separate 3% tech tax, if you will, the UK proposing its own. But many in the United States already feel that these same companies, Google, Amazon, Facebook, aren't paying enough tax in this country. So is it an unreasonable ask to look for the EU to look at this?
Not at all. They tend to be a little out ahead of the U.S. these days in climate change terms, in taxation of tech terms, and a variety of others. So this is a welcome development, the fact that the U.S. opposition calmed down somewhat from the initial reaction, and this is really setting the stage for a new era in which these remarkable companies who are doing so much to change the world we live in pay their fair share, just like traditional companies. The internet was the sort of Wild West in many ways, including lack of taxation terms for years. This will put pressure on them domestically and properly. These kind of resources can be used by government officials to do a whole variety of things. And this will be a welcome change. Certainly the Europeans are helping in this regard.
That being said, we have the G7 Leaders Summit next month. This is an issue that the U.S. President Donald Trump has taken issue with, specifically saying that, hey, you guys are targeting American companies. What could happen when he arrives in France next month, decides he does not like this tax? What does it do to the trading relationship between the EU and the U.S. if he wants to take this a step further? He's already threatened Europe with tariffs on autos and other things. What can we see happen then?
I was just about to mention that because, of course, that is a rub between the U.S. and Europe at the moment. And with this president, we've stopped predicting what will happen, what he will say next, what he will do next. So in that regard, the Europeans have to be prepared. They have to be prepared for him to shift the relatively calm signal sent by Secretary Mnuchin and be ready for an explosion, if possible. And I think they will stay consistent, just like you see the EU be very consistent in their treatment of Brexit and Britain. They're not changing the terms of the deal that they've agreed. They're not going to back down on these taxes either. And this overall will be good for the global economy.
We have a little bit of time left. Let's talk about the Libra currency that Facebook wants to unveil and roll out. There are big issues that were discussed regarding regulation and the impact this currency could have on the international monetary system. What do you think could happen here? Facebook says that, hey, we're not going to roll anything out unless regulators give their stamp of approval. But what are the biggest concerns here?
There are other, like Bitcoin, other cryptocurrencies out there. A lot of smaller ones have been created for some positive uses, some nefarious uses, and basically regulators are sort of tired of it. They're not willing any longer to basically have a space for money launderers, for criminals, for terrorists, for others, including the ability for autocrats around the world to suppress citizens and dissidents, and even via cryptocurrencies. So,
is it because it's Facebook? Is it because there's this big name behind it that gives government officials a little more pause?
It does, right? Because Facebook is already tracking taxation concerns. They've been used by Russia, by North Korea, by Iran, by other cyber warriors, and very effectively, and are still being so. So there's incredible pressure on Facebook. This is one other way to sort of press them, but also there's a legitimate concern about cryptocurrencies and the fact that Facebook is likely to put so many resources behind this. They're just going to make sure that this is regulated, as is the coming regulation of social media posting in general. We have to keep watching for that. That's also coming down the pike as well.
All right, Jeff Stacey, thank you so much for your time. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.